You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you.
Peace and blessings to you all on another beautiful day that the Lord has made. Thank you for joining us here at Newer Dimensions Fellowship Ministries. I'm Sonia Coleman, and I welcome you to another segment of Let's Talk About It. Here at Newer Dimensions Fellowship, we always like to make sure that we're bringing you information that's not only educational, but edifying and uplifting so that you stay informed and aware. And I encourage you that if you do have children that have access or have use of the internet, bring them in on this discussion so that they are aware of what they need to do to make sure that they're being safe. So with that being said, I'm joined today by Elder Louis DeWeaver, who's going to help us with the dangers of social media and cybersecurity. So Elder DeWeaver, dangers of social media and cybersecurity. Let's talk about it.
All right.
But before we do, can you please give us a little bit of your background and what it is that you do now?
Okay. My background, I started in security, actually physical security, when I went into the military. I was a military police officer. I also had a bomb and drug sniffing dog.
Oh.
So, yep, that was, that was quite an experience.
Right.
From there, when I got out of the military, I actually worked for Sears.
Okay.
Roebuck for 10 years as a store detective, worked my way all the way up to management.
So you was the one following people that was stealing.
Following people playing clothes.
Okay.
Yeah. So after I left Sears, I became a private investigator. So I worked for a police officer who used to come in the store all the time and arrest the shoplifters that we caught.
Right.
So after that, becoming a private investigator, I seen I needed to go back to school to get my degree.
Okay.
So I went to school, and my first degree was my associate's degree, and it was actually in computer networking.
Okay.
And from there, I got my bachelor's degree in computer security. And then I went on to get my master's degree in cybersecurity. And I went on, and I'm working on my PhD in cybersecurity.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm stuck in this field. They say once you're a cop, you're always a cop. So that's one of the things that I probably will never stop doing is
Right.
some type of security job. But I took physical security and cybersecurity, and you mix them together. So I kind of know how criminals think, and that's kind of how cyber criminals think the same way.
Okay, you know what? I did not know that about you. I knew you were in cybersecurity, but to know that you were a PI and all of that, who knew? When I was looking into this lesson and just even looking in the Bible when it comes to wisdom, and I came across Ephesians 5:15 and 17, and it says, "Look carefully then how you walk. Now, not unwise, but as wise, making the best use of time, because the days are evil. Therefore, do not be foolish, but understand what is the will of the Lord." And I said, you know, we have to be wise on how we conduct ourselves.
Yeah.
Because these times are perilous that we can get online and just like that, somebody's life can be ruined all just by the internet. You know, so I'm so glad that you came on and that you're giving us this wisdom that we need in order to make sure that we're staying safe. And with that, I would just even like to jump in it and say, what do we need to know? And let's talk about our usage of social media.
You can almost find anything on the internet. So
Right.
the internet itself and social media is not the bad part. The bad part is the excessive use of it, or you can get addicted to it. 70% of our teenagers now use social media multiple times a day. And the dangers of social media now are, I remember when we were kids, we could go in the house, we could play, and we would be safe.
Right.
But now, you're not even safe in your own home. Because what
Right.
happens is, as long as you're connected to the internet, somebody from the outside can reach on the inside.
Right.
I don't know if you've seen recently in the news how even the cameras, the Ring cameras, if they weren't set up right, there were people that could actually view you and talk back.
Right.
You have to be safe when you use social media. So one of the things that is kind of bad is it's all about self. You know, the selfies and things that we do.
Yes, yes.
And being a Christian, you know, you really have to think about it. I mean, I really had to think about it because at one time I was like, social media just ain't no good. It's
Right,
the devil.
right.
And people say all that. It's not true. The devil has nothing to do with social media.
Right.
Just like he has nothing to do with some of the things we do. He can
Right.
tempt us, but he can't make us do it.
Right.
So we do have to use the wisdom that God gives us. We have to use some type of discernment,
Yes.
even when we're online.
Yes, yes. And you said that how you thought social media was the devil. You know, that was evil. You shouldn't be on there. But I always find, like with anything, we pervert it.
We do.
Make it evil by the way we tend to use things. And that's what everybody needs to understand. It's how you use it that tends to where you get into that trouble.
Exactly, because you know now we use it to reach out to many people.
Yes.
And our parishioners who can't come to church,
Absolutely.
they're allowed to view it online. I mean, Facebook, we got YouTube. We have to be able to discern and we know when to put down social media. We have
Right.
to know when to put down our cell phones, because believe it or not, it's the biggest addiction right now. A cell phone is more addictive than crack or anything else out there on the market today. It is a drug, and the way you re-up is when
Wow.
you re-get your minutes. So you have to be careful, because there are people PhD level. All they've done is concentrate on how they can make people get hooked on social media. Information. So you have to be careful, just like you wouldn't walk around with your social security number out and letting people see it. You have to be careful about what you let people see on the internet.
So can you give us some more dangers that we can encounter during social media?
Well, one thing that everybody needs to know is once you post something online, it's there forever. You can never delete it. Even if you delete your account, you go on Facebook and you delete your account, there's something, and we'll have a link in our description. It's called the Wayback Machine. If you go back to the Wayback Machine, ever since the internet was invented, the government has computers, servers that are in Canada, and every single website that's ever out there. Every time it changes, it takes a snapshot. So you can go back to the first time you signed up for your Facebook account, and you can go see what you posted. It's out there. So I kind of use it to my advantage. So if a store puts out an ad out there and then they take it back, I can go out there and say, no, this ad was out there on that day, because it's the way. So everything on the internet is recorded. So what people need to realize is, it's just like if I'm talking to somebody and I think that I'm in a private room, you should always think somebody is listening or always think somebody is watching. You know, this came to me as I was driving here today, and I think, you know, it's going to be good for you too. I think we should actually start down the road, maybe in a month or so, we're going to do a podcast. Okay. And every week, you know, it might not be video related, but it'll always be voice related. And we can have podcasts, like you can do your health stuff, and we can always give people tips on how to stay safe on the internet. And then part of our Facebook page will always have a section that this is the latest thing that's happened. This is the latest scam that's out there.
Keeping everybody aware.
Keeping everybody aware.
I love that. Even, you know, I'm very meticulous when I do order stuff online. Like, I may have just a card that's all I use it for, is to purchase things online, or PayPal. I love using PayPal because PayPal will get your money back. You tell them you didn't get your stuff, PayPal is on it quickly. So I use those avenues because I know that they're there and they have things set up to protect me. But didn't even think that was a prime opportunity during the pandemic and quarantine, that they went right into action and started scamming people.
And you said something so true, and not being a cybersecurity person, you are on the right track. Always never use your debit card. Always use something like PayPal. They got so many paid debit cards out there where you can transfer money. You can use all kind of apps, Vimo to pay. You can use Apple Pay. Because what happens is, even though your credit card is linked, you have certain protections because you're not actually entering your credit card. There's some verification that have to take place.
Right.
So with that, giving some tips, that's, you know, would be my first and number one tip. Never use your actual credit card to make any transactions. And the biggest tip that I can give anybody is, never ever click on a link that you get in the email, even if it's legit, to go to a site. So let's say, here's an example. My bank sends me a statement every month, and there's a link in my email that says go here, and then I can log on the site. Even though I know that that's my bank and that's a legitimate, I still open up a web browser, type in my bank's address, and go to it that way,
directly
or use
to that page.
Now, if you've ever done this, and I bet you some people out there, this is probably gonna make you panic, but don't worry, don't panic. Just change your password. If you've ever gone to a site and you clicked on it, it says, my password ain't right. You say, no, that's not right. And you type it in again, my password is wrong. You say, nope, that's not right. And you keep doing it. What that site has done, you probably went to a site that was bogus. And what happened is, your username and password have gotten stolen because that was not the actual site that you need to go to. So to try to give you all of this information in one sitting would probably be impossible, but we will have a link to Facebook, and we're going to have, we're going to do our podcast, and we're going to have a lot of this stuff out there so you'll know about it.
Good.
Because one thing you have to do is use your common sense.
Yes.
Especially when you're shopping online. Not saying people don't have common sense, but if something looks too easy to be true, more than likely it's easy to be true. Because what hackers do and what how they attack you is, they're smart enough. And then we talked about the social media. So if I post on there that I'm going on this vacation and I'm doing all this other stuff, why wouldn't I send you an email? Or now I know when you're leaving, when you're coming back. I used to tell people all the time, thank God that God saved me, because if I was a crook, I would just go on people's Facebook, see when they were gone, I'd just break in their house. I know when they're not home. So you have to be careful what you put on there. And kids don't understand. They're putting pictures of themselves out there. They're putting pictures of inside of their home. They're talking about things that they have in their home, and they're showing their room, and they're showing they got PlayStation and all that. You're giving thieves just the inside track.
But what are some long-term risks? Because you said something that was key about how our kids will post pictures online. And I would tell my kids all the time, like, yeah, it's fun because you're 16, 17, 18 now. But once you've graduated and you're looking to start your career, they're still able to go back and they can look at that. And we don't think that what we do now has long-term ramifications. So what are some long-term risks when dealing with social media and even our presence online that can come back to bite us in the butt later?
And a big one, and I tell my students this all the time in school, and every student out there should know, is when you go to apply for a job. You go to apply for a job and you out on Facebook or whatever,
Right.
and you took selfies, you're drinking, you're smoking, you're doing some of these things, you're making fun of people or whatever.
Right.
Believe it or not, employers go to Facebook pages and they see what type of person they're getting ready to hire. And before they can even call you in for an interview, you can be eliminated from maybe a potential job because of something you posted on social media. I can't tell you how many times you can go in the news and do
Wow.
a search online. One young lady lost her job because someone came into her establishment where she worked as a waitress. They didn't tip her. She was so furious that she went on Facebook and talked about them. Now, it just happens that somebody that knows them found the description of how she described them and what
Right.
car they were driving. She ended up calling them. They called the restaurant. She lost her job because
Wow.
of a post she made on social media.
Right.
So you have to be careful. And us as Christians, we really have to be careful, because what is our testimony to other people?
Yes, yes.
How can we say, oh, and nobody's holier than thou. Not saying that
not
you
at
can't
all.
take selfies. There's nothing
Right.
saying you can't take selfies, but don't always make it about you.
Right.
Always try to make it about, helping other people. And I think
Right.
that's what we really need to do. But just imagine for a second, if I'm out there doing all of these things, where's my testimony to somebody that's really lost?
Because that's a testament to your life. That is a testament to your life. And like I say, I do have an online presence with my Facebook group, on Instagram, on Facebook and everything. And I post stuff and we all see humorous things. But anything that I post, repost, or share, even if it's somebody else's original post, is that something that's going to attest to me as my character, that I'm not going to be ashamed of, that I can say I'm okay with what I put out there, because I don't know who's watching and who's saying it. And no, we're not holier than thou, and we all fall short.
Yep.
But at the same time, I like and I like to say, what you see is what you get. There's no changing. What I post online, I'm okay with, because it lines up to who I am as a person. That goes back to that wisdom. Using wisdom with what we choose to put online. Knowing that it's not going to come back later and bite me in the butt and have those long-term ramifications because I did it in a moment of, just recklessness or whatever, but now I'm having to pay for it in the end. So I'm very aware of what I post online.
And see, and we have to be careful, because back in the day, and we still do it, you go purchase a car, you purchase a house, you put your signature on a piece of paper, you're in a contract. Now, if you download Facebook app, and you put it on your phone, Facebook Messenger, you sign your rights away.
Right.
Anything you post on there, they own. Regardless of the content. Any pictures you put online, they own. And you say you're giving them access to your device, where they can go in, they can look at your contacts, they can do stuff. They can even turn the camera on your phone. So this is what we call terms of use. Before you download any app, and what I like about an iPhone, and people got Android, I'm not dogging Android, but what Apple did is something that you'll notice. Before, you would turn on an app, and it will say, okay, do I have permission to use your Bluetooth audio? Do I have permission to use it? So that was something that cell phone companies put into place, because before that,
They just did it.
it just did it.
Yes,
So you
I'm
could
quick
put
to
on the app,
deny.
and it would take over your phone. So
Yeah.
they knew, and I'm telling you, it's all about your data. Your data is worth so much money to businesses, and they can almost determine what you like, what you're gonna buy,
Yes.
and everything. And have you ever went online and you've been talking about, I'm gonna buy a refrigerator, then you go
And then all
online and you
the
get an
ads
ad.
pop up.
Because if you have a phone, any phone, Google, if you have an Apple phone,
listening.
It's listening.
They're listening.
Siri listens to your conversations, and what you talk about, that's where your ads come from.
Yeah.
So, and guess what? You say, well, that's a violation of my rights. How can they do that?
But you already signed off when you
activated your phone, you said Siri could listen to you. And Apple got busted, and people are still using it. So what I tell people
I never trusted that Siri. That's why I got rid of my iPhone.
It's like right now, I just show you, hey Siri. As you can see, Siri is listening. So if
Mind your business, Siri.
If it can listen to me saying, hey.
Right.
And the name, because I don't want it to come up again, that means it's listening all the time.
What can we do to protect ourselves? Because whether we like it, love it, whatever, we need the internet. It is an integral part of our lives. So, and especially with school coming back up, that's going to be the way the kids are going to be learning. So what are some tips that we can use that even if we're not tech savvy or we're beginners or we've been doing this for years, what are some things that we can put in place to protect us, not only on social media outlets, but just in cyberspace as well?
Well, one thing you should always do is never put all of your personal information inside even your profile. Never put your telephone number out there, because that stuff is easily accessed by anybody. And you say, oh, I can friend people or unfriend them.
Right.
But guess what? When you sign up for the Facebook apps and you sign up for Facebook, remember to use it, your terms of use, they can take that information and use it. Something else is, remember, never click on a link in an email that you get. Any email you get, even if it's a sense of urgency, if it's from your bank, if it's from your insurance company, always go to the site and never click on the link, and you can remain safe.
Okay.
Some of the other things you can do, which I'm going to post a lot of this on our Facebook page, so and put a bigger list, because it'd be almost impossible to go over it in one sitting. We've given you just a few tips that you can use. We would be here all day trying to give you every possible tip that we could give you.
Right.
But what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that we develop our podcast, and we put a bunch of tips online. 99% of people have already gotten hacked, whether you know it or not. So in order to stay safe, always consider yourself as a possibility for you to be hacked, and always, in that way you always stay safe. Always say that it's a possibility that my information is getting compromised. What wouldn't I want somebody to see? What wouldn't I want somebody to know? What information would I not want to be out there? So always consider anything you post online that everybody can see.
Right.
And then that might give you a little bit of motivation. It's just like when you go clean up, or when you going in the shower, you don't got a camera in there because you don't want everybody to see it. It's the same thing.
Use that same logic.
Use that same logic. Always protect yourself. And if you post it online, just be under the understanding that somebody is going to see it.
Right. And thank you for saying that, because I think those are tips that we need in order to keep us safe. Because I think, I know I can say for me, we have a tendency to get online and we're very lax with our online presence. And we don't think about those things as we're online. And you said it, you were given the idea for a podcast, because these are things, as the internet becomes the way that we stay connected and we do a lot of things coming up as we navigate through this, we need to make sure that we're protected and that we're safe. And that is the major reason of bringing you these segments, to make sure that we're giving you the information that's going to keep you safe. I said it before, that Newer Dimensions is committed to making sure that we're bringing you information that's educational, edifying, and uplifting, so that you are okay. And I appreciate and I thank you for coming in with all of this information. We definitely have to do a part 2 to this, because there was so much more that we weren't able to cover. So we definitely are going to have to do that.
And all I would like to say in conclusion is thank you, thank our bishop, thank our church for being so patient. Because believe it or not, today, we want that hard preaching. We want everything like we had it when we were face to face. But these series that, and you guys need to go, if you haven't watched the series, especially your body is a temple.
Yes,
You
can
need to
access
go
those.
back and really, really look at those episodes and look at the financial health. Because I tell you what, ever since it started, we've getting a lot of outreach because people are in the need of something else.
Right.
When we get back to church, we gonna really do church. But it's not like we're not doing church now, but what we're doing is informational. Because I tell you what, Sister Sonia, you have done a phenomenal job, and I thank our bishop for allowing us to do this.
Thank you.
Because nobody else is doing this and letting people out there in society know there's things that you can do to get your body and your mind straight, especially during a pandemic where you're stuck at home and you can't even go to church.
Right. We still care, and it's still all about
Yes.
the body and making sure that the body of Christ is healthy, and that we're
Yes.
all aware and we're all staying safe during this time. And I appreciate that, and I thank you. And I thank you for always tuning into these segments. And I pray, like I said before, that you have found something that's going to be helpful to you. Please feel free to go back and watch past episodes. And if there's a topic or an issue that you would like to see
Yes.
discussed, reach out to us and let's talk about it. And as I said before, and I'll say it 1,000 times, thank you, and thank you. We cannot thank you enough for your generous support of the ministry. It's because of what you do that allows us to continue to do what we do.
Yes.
And we can't thank you enough. And I pray that you all have an amazing week. Love you, and God bless.
God bless.
You are not hidden. There's never been a moment you were forgotten. You are not hopeless. Though you have been broken, your innocence stolen, I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. There is no distance that cannot be covered over and over. You're not defenseless. I'll be your shelter, I'll be your armor. I hear you whisper underneath your breath. I hear your SOS, your SOS. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. I hear the whisper underneath your breath. I hear you whisper you have nothing left. I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkest night. It's true, I will rescue you. I will never stop marching to reach you in the middle of the hardest fight. It's true, I will rescue you. you.